Breaking news a day after Hillary Clinton blamed him for tilting voters against her. FBI Director James Comey stands by his late October decision to reveal the Clinton email probe had been renewed. Comey tells senators the idea of impacting the election makes him, quote, mildly nauseous, but says that to do anything else would have been, in his word, catastrophic for the FBI. Joining us now, Republican Congressman Gowdy of South Carolina. He's a key member of both the Intelligence and Judiciary Committee. Senator, thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
What did you think of the testimony from the FBI director on Capitol Hill today?
Same thing I thought this time last fall. He has a very difficult job. Tough facts make for tough conclusions. I do understand the frustration of my friends on the other side. But the reality is, I think Secretary Clinton is primarily responsible for the position that Director Comey found himself in. But I do admit difficult facts make for unusual conclusions.
You serve on the Intelligence Committee in the House. The top Democrat on that committee, Adam Schiff, he had this to say about Comey's testimony in a tweet. Real choice was not conceal or speak. Comey spoke about Clinton and concealed Trump investigation. Real choice was to abide by DOJ, Department of Justice, policy or violate. So he's suggesting there was a double standard. Do you agree with him?
Well, I think it was an unusual case. Keep in mind, Loretta Lynch recused herself, or at least removed herself. Wasn't a formal recusal because she met on the tarmac with the spouse of a suspect of an ongoing investigation. So every part of it was difficult. This is the way I would kind of distinguish those two fact patterns. He told us at the end of the investigation that he was not going to pursue charges against Secretary Clinton. That's a little bit different than having that conversation on the front end of the investigation, although in this case, he has told us on the front end. He told us last time we had a public hearing that there was an investigation, either intelligence or quasi-criminal investigation, into matters surrounding Russia's efforts to interfere with our election. I viewed his press conference with Secretary Clinton as explaining his non-charging decision. If he wants to do that at the end of the investigation with Russia, he's welcome to do so. It's unusual to have that press conference on the front end of an investigation.
The president tweeted last night ahead of today's testimony, I'll put it up on the screen, FBI Director Comey was the best thing that ever happened to Hillary Clinton, and that he gave her a free pass for many bad deeds. The phony Trump-Russia story was an excuse used by the Democrats as justification for losing the election. Perhaps Trump just ran a great campaign. Do you agree with the president's claim, Congressman, that Director Comey gave Hillary Clinton a, quote, free pass?
Well, I don't know what he means by free pass. I disagree with Director Comey, and there's a tape to back it up on his interpretation of the elements required to make a successful prosecution. We had quite a lengthy conversation about intent. Keep in mind, Director Comey didn't say the elements of that offense were not met. He said she lacked the intent to break the law, which, as you probably know, Wolf, is rarely proven with direct evidence, almost always circumstantial evidence. I do disagree with Director Comey's conclusion. I don't know what the president meant by free pass. I think the press conference that Director Comey gave was an attempt to explain an unusual conclusion, which is you meet the elements of the offense, but we're not going to prosecute you regardless because we can't prove the issue of specific intent.
What about the president's claim that this whole Trump-Russia investigation, in the president's word, is phony?
Our investigation is not phony, Wolf. There are 4 tranches to it. I'm happy that we have begun. We need access to all of the documents, but anytime a foreign power seeks to interfere or influence the outcome of our election, that is an American issue to me. It is not a political issue. So too with the unmasking of U.S. persons' names, and so too with the dissemination of classified information. I think all of these tranches are really important. I am glad that the committee is back on track to the extent some people thought it was not. We have Comey and Rogers tomorrow. I'm excited to spend 3 hours with them and excited to interview the witnesses that have access to relevant information, which includes most members of Congress and lots of the other people that are pontificating about this issue. I want to talk to people who actually have access to facts.
Does it disturb you, Congressman, that the president disagrees not only with you, but with the intelligence community when he says, you know what, it could have been China, it could have been someone else who interfered in that hacking effort. He's not convinced it's Russia. Does that bother you?
Wolf, I have never met nor talked to President Trump, ever. You and I have talked more tonight than I have. I've never met or talked to him, so I don't know what he means. The problem with tweets for me is it's hard to unlock the mysteries of the world in 140 characters. I can't do it. So there aren't follow-up questions. There aren't requests to extrapolate on what you meant. I don't know what he meant by that. I can tell you this, any foreign government, and in this instance, Russia, but you can insert any country you want that attempts to interfere with our democratic process, that is an American issue. Now, having said that, some of my colleagues in this line of work love to jump to the conclusion without going through the process of identifying facts. And quoting anonymous sources and referencing newspaper articles, you would be laughed out of any courtroom in America if you did that. So it's a serious accusation. Let's have a correspondingly serious investigation. Give me the documents, give me the witnesses, and at the end, Wolf, you and I may draw different conclusions, but at least we should have access to the same facts.
I suspect that you're going to be hearing from the White House. He's going to invite you over. Now that you've pointed out you haven't really had a substantive
I'm just a
conversation. Get ready for that invitation. He might be watching us for all we know right now. Let's get to another issue. As you know, the chairman of your oversight committee, Jason Chaffetz, he's resigning from Congress. Would you be interested in pursuing the chairmanship of that committee?
Well, Wolf, he is not going to run for re-election. He may or may not serve out this term. He had surgery last week. He's recovering. He's doing well. So I don't know if there's going to be a vacancy. I have never looked in the mirror and saw the chairperson of a committee before, but I am interested in all three facets of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. I am interested in oversight, but I'm also interested in the reform. I would need to talk to my colleagues and have a frank conversation with them about whether or not they thought I had the requisite characteristics they were looking for. So we'll see when and if Jason leaves during this term, but my immediate concern is his well-being. He's a very good friend. I care about him as a person. I want him to get better. And if he serves out this term, more power to him. And if he doesn't, then I'll come back on and you and I can discuss it. Yeah, we hope his surgery on his foot was successful as well. I know he's coming back for this vote. Speaking of this vote, the health care bill in the House of Representatives, do you expect that there will be a yay, 216 votes that will allow this bill to go forward to the U.S. Senate? Wolf, if I knew the answer to that question, I would probably go buy a lottery ticket in South Carolina. I don't. Being in leadership is an impossible job, which is why so few of us raise our hands and volunteer. I don't know if we have the requisite number of votes, and I frankly am not smart enough to know the politics of calling for a vote if you don't have the requisite number of votes. I know that people are working awfully hard on it, and I assume that they are working in good faith, both the more moderate wing of our conference and also the Freedom Caucus. I know leadership is working very hard. Our committee chairman produced a product. So I hope we have a vote, but I don't know that anybody can tell you whether that vote will take place tomorrow. Do you believe it will do enough to help South Carolinians in your district who have pre-existing conditions get through and have the adequate medical treatment and insurance they need? Well, Wolf, I have some of those people in my very own family, and I have met with scores of people since January whose families are in that exact same condition. I don't know a single Republican that does not want to take care of people with pre-existing conditions. I am fine for my friends on the other side of the aisle or the other side of this issue to question the legislative product. Where I do draw the line is on us questioning one another's motives. I don't know a member of the House, from Joey Kennedy, who happens to be a friend, to Mark Meadows in the Freedom Caucus, that doesn't want to take care of sick people who have pre-existing conditions and allow them the opportunity to have continuous service at a rate they can afford. The means by which we get there, reasonable minds can differ, but you can put me in the take care of people with pre-existing conditions category. Let me just press you, Congressman, yes or no? Does the current legislation that you're going to vote on maybe as early as tomorrow take care of people with pre-existing conditions? If it didn't, I wouldn't vote for it, Wolf. So you're going to vote for it? Yes, sir. Congressman Trey Gowdy, thanks very much for joining us. Yes, sir. Thank you. Coming up, a disturbing look at